Hi, and welcome to another Community Resource Network Human Resources Management session. So we're going to be looking at, we've been looking at your rights and responsibilities as an employer in the WA state system of employment law. Today we're going to be looking at time and wages record keeping. We're going to be looking at what the requirements are, the basic requirements that all employers have to follow, some things to be aware of in terms of some of the issues that come up, some of the templates and services that our department can offer you in terms of keeping those records, and also why it's a good idea to keep those records and some of the tips that we can offer you there. So firstly, let's look at some of the basic information that you have to record as an employer. Firstly, you've got to record an employee's personal details. So that includes their name. If they're below 21, their age, because someone's age below 21 will affect their minimum rate of pay, things like their financial institution and everything like that. You've got to record somewhere their commencement date. When did they start working for the business? Their gross and net amounts paid. You've got to record how much were they paid before tax, how much were they paid after tax. For every shift that they work, you've got to record their start and finish times, and also any breaks they take, whether that's a meal break or a tea break, whether it's paid or unpaid, you've got to record any absences from work in that way. Moving on, you've got to detail any deductions that you make from their pay and what they were and why you took them out. So that might be tax, that might be HEX if they're repaying their HEX debt, anything like that, anything that's taken out of their pay, you have to record what it is and how much it was. Any leave that they've taken, whether it's paid or unpaid. Now this is really important for a few reasons. The main one is, last week we talked about long service leave. You have to be aware that any breaks that they've taken, whether it counts for or against that long service leave, it's important to have records of that to prove the entitlement when it falls due. You've also got to look at any other award requirements. So for example, if they are paid any allowances under the award, if they receive any overtime or penalty rates, that has to be recorded as well. You have to record basically everything that they've worked, what they've gotten paid for that time, and what that payment was. So in terms of tools and templates that you can use, we have a section of that on our website. If you go to our website, www.commerce.wa.gov.au/labour relations, you can also just go to commerce and click on the labour relations tab. If you follow the prompts there, you can look at some of the templates and services that we offer, not only in terms of record keeping, but also dealing with a raft of employment law issues. And we can go into more detail on that in a second. Just going back to what I've talked about in terms of time and wages record keeping, if you have any queries, you want to clarify any of the points we've already talked about, you can email westlink@rdl.wa.gov.au. Any queries that you've got there will be passed on to me, and I can contact you and we can deal with them. So back to the tools and templates that are available. I'm going to go through a few of them now, some of the ones that are available for you to use. Firstly, we've got a staff employment details template. So this will detail all the personal information of any employees that you have. It also records your name and your employer ABN, their emergency contact, their banking details, how are they employed, so are they full-time, part-time, casual, and then details to do with tax, superannuation, workers' compensation, and if they have been terminated, you can record when that termination took place and what was the termination record. So did they terminate employment? Did you? What was the details there? We've also got a time and wages record keeping worksheet. So this is for any shift that they've worked, the hours that they've worked for that shift, their start and finish time, any breaks they took, any overtime they worked, any penalty rates they received. Now, just to talk about this particular template, I think this is very useful for all employers. Now, I know that a lot of employers use programs such as QuickBooks or MyOb or areas like that. Those programs are great. They work really well and a lot of people use them and they find them very useful. The one thing I would say about them though is that they weren't designed with the legislation in mind. Whereas all the templates that we provide were designed with meeting your minimum requirements under the law. So even if you don't use our templates, I do recommend that you at least go to our website, have a look at them, and make sure that you are covering all the areas that you have to under legislation, and make sure that that's all being covered in the programs that you do use. Finally, we also have a template for accrual of long service leave and annual leave. So this is basically recording the dates and hours that someone works and how much leave they accrued during that time. Again, the programs that you use often do provide that service, but it's very important that if they don't, that you can use our templates to work that out. So those are some of the templates we provide. A few of the other tools and templates we provide include leave calculation sheets and also payslip templates. So we can also provide you with a template for showing you all the information that you have to record with someone's payslip. Other tools and templates we have on the website include award wage summaries, so that's basic entitlements for different industries, and also publications dealing with employment status, with different areas of leave accrual, with surveillance in the workplace. A lot of different areas are dealt with our publications, and it's really good to just check out that website. If you want to be emailed any of these templates or any usable templates, any award wage summaries, any publications, if you contact me through the Westlink email address, that's westlink@rdl.wa.gov.au, I can provide you with any of the templates that are on our website directly, or any PDFs of any of the publications that we provide as well. All right, I'm going to now go into a bit more information about the requirements that you have in terms of record keeping. So around just the information you have to record, there's also certain obligations that you have in terms of keeping those records. Firstly, records must be kept for at least 7 years. The main reason for that is long service leave, but also any other claims that an employee makes. They have 6 years to make those claims in terms of any monetary breaches, any underpayments of wages or penalty rates. They have 6 years to make that claim. As a result, you have to keep those records for 7 years after they're made. An employer must make an employee's records available on written request by a relevant person. So what that means is that if a relevant person makes a request to see someone's employment records, an employer is legally obligated to provide them. So what is a relevant person? Well, that can be the employee themselves, so the employee can request their records. It can also be an employee's representative, whether that's someone from a union or an industrial advocate or a lawyer, or an industrial inspector. Now, an industrial inspector is the investigators from our department. So if someone was to make a claim with our department about that they weren't paid a certain entitlement or they weren't paid the right hourly rate, it would be an industrial inspector who would investigate that. They would contact you and make a request to see that employee's records, because ultimately that is how we work out whether someone is entitled to something or not. One thing to be aware of with inspectors is that they do not represent the employee. They represent the public interest. They weigh up whether it is worth the public interest to investigate any particular claim. And essentially, that is why it's really important to keep good records. It's in the best interest of the business to keep good, thorough, clear records, because it protects the business from false claims. If an employee makes a claim against the business which is frivolous or not based on any actual underpayment, the first thing that we do as an investigation is we look at the records. We look at the employment records, we weigh up when was someone working, and what was someone getting paid for that time. If you've kept very good, very clear, very thorough records, it's very easy for you as an employer to prove that you've met all the entitlements that you were supposed to under the legislation. So it helps ensure that those entitlements have been met. Also, in terms of keeping good records, it helps you keep an eye on that. It makes sure that no underpayments are being made and that you can sort that out if it is happening as early as possible before it becomes an issue that we might have to look into. I'm just going to briefly now talk about payslips. Now, in the state system, there is actually no minimum legislative requirement to provide payslips. However, you should always check on your award, because many state awards will provide that a payslip has to be given to employees. In the national system or the federal system, it's a minimum requirement that all businesses provide payslips. In the state system, it varies more. However, we do think that it is a good thing to provide payslips because it's identifying those underpayments before they become an issue. If you give someone as much information about what they're getting paid, what deductions are being taken from their pay, and any areas like that as early as possible, if there are any queries, if there are any concerns that employee has, they can bring them to you as early as possible and they can be sorted out in a quick, easy and civil way before it becomes something that could lead to a claim against your business. Well, that basically covers my information on record keeping. As always, if you've got any queries between now and the next session, please do email westlink@rdl.wa.gov.au. Any information that you wish to get from me, you can ask at that particular email address. And if you don't wish to email me directly, you can always call WageLine. It's a free, confidential and unbiased service. Any information that you wish to get on record keeping requirements, any templates that you want to receive, you can give WageLine a call or check out our website and you can find that information there. As ever, this is a very general overview only, and you should always seek specific professional advice before acting or not acting on the information in this presentation. So as I say, if you have any queries between now and the next session, please do feel free to email that email address or to contact WageLine. In the meantime, have a great week. Thank you.